So this week we have another simple cake for you, about a level 1.5. It's a butterfly made out of a heart cake. I think you'll really love it. For this project, I'm going to use a number 124 rose tip. I'm going to use a number 4 writer, and this is a number 22 or 23. Either size is fine, and a couple of straws. So I've got my heart cake. This is a 9-inch heart. I have split it and filled it. So you want to fill it with something like a cream, something that's not going to spread. So probably fruit is not so good. If you want to use fruit, go ahead and put an icing down the middle before you cut. So I have had it in the freezer for about an hour. You can see that I can get my spatula all the way under because I'm going to be splitting this and moving it. I'm going to take my bench knife, or you can use a regular knife, mark it before you cut it, put it right down the center. Double check that you're nice and even, and go ahead and cut her open. With it being chilled, almost frozen, you should get a nice clean cut. So I'm going to transfer my cake. Because it's mostly frozen, it's pretty easy. I want the round part toward the center and aimed out. I want a nice wing. You want them to touch, but just barely. And you can arrange however you like them. I'm going to use my quick icer so that I can just do this in one quick swipe. Nice even pressure. Now I'll cover this with a border, and you don't even really have to worry too much about there because we'll cover that with a border too. We're going to start decorating, and to simplify things, I'm going to use this little cookie cutter and mark 2 little hearts there and 2 upside down here. That'll give me a little shape for my decoration. I've just got a paper bag here that I filled with some variegated pink. I'm going to cut just the very tip off so I can create some corneli lace. We've seen this before on some of our other videos. It's simple but looks fancy on a cake. I'm using it in color because my base is white, but you can also make the butterfly any color you wish and then use a white accent. So we're going to start. We just want to zigzag around, kind of back and forth. You can see it creates a nice lace effect. Okay, I'm going to use my 104 here for just a very simple border around the outside. This is a reverse shell, so we squeeze and release, squeeze and release. Over to the side, squeeze, let it build, release to the side. We have a border video that shows you how to do that a little more in depth. Any kind of a straight border that you know how to do will work around these little hearts. So now I'm going to use that same number 4 writer, and I'm going to use a reverse shell going both directions. This can also be a very simple straight shell. If that's what you know how to do, it'll be just as pretty. I've switched to my number 22 star tip, and I'm going to show you how to do the hardest part of this. I'm just going to use a straight shell, but you need to get in here. It's a little bit of a tough angle. Okay, I wanted to show you too how to fill the gap here. Normally we would ice that so we're down to the board, but where we've used the quick icer and we do have a gap, I just want to show you that you can use your shell to fill that in. Kind of go under the lip just a little bit, and you'll get a nice good seal. So I've got my number 124 rose tip, and normally when we use the rose tip we have it angled up. This time we want it angled down so that our fine point is at the bottom. We're going to go ahead and make a border. This border utilizes the same movements that we would use for making a straight shell. We're going to do a squeeze and release, dip, Squeeze and release, dip. So I'm going to do a rose here and put in these little hearts. You don't need to do that, it's just a little extra embellishment. If you want to learn how to do a rose on a stick, we have a video that shows that too. I've got my bag striped with some pink and some blue for some variation. And I'm going to do a full rose on the top too, and a rosebud on the bottom too. We're going to create our little bug between the butterfly wings now here, and I'm going to put them as a support on these two straws. These are flexi straws, and they're perfect because right where the flex starts is right where we're going to cut them. It's just the right length. I'm going to use a little bit of icing right where the closest part where they're going to touch. We want to fill just a little bit there. Create not only a support, but also a little bit of a platform so we get the angle that we want. We want her just about like that. Now we're going to use some figure piping techniques, and I just have a bag. I filled it with a real pale leaf green, and I'm going to cut the end off, but this time I want a little bigger hole. If you can see about there, I'm going to cut about 1/4 of an inch off. We want to start with her body. And with figure piping, you want even pressure, and you're going to make slight round movements with your wrist. So we want to squeeze and start to build. Let the tip go down in. You want her to be kind of fat, pull down. We're going to kind of have a long torso, about like that. Now we want to create little round balls for her tail. With this, I'm going around like that, just a little. Get smaller as you come down. There's her little tail.
Go.
Keep the tip down in. Where you want it to be bigger, you can move. Come back in and give her a little bit of cheeks. See how she has just a little bit of a heart shape on her face? We're going to come back in and give her 2 big googly eyes. Even pressure, even pressure. So we want to make her pretty, so we'll give her a sweet little smile. We'll give her a heavy eyelid on both sides. This is some black piping gel. You can also get the black candy strings at a cake decorating supply or even Walmart. You can even get eyeballs there that you can embellish. Let's give her some eyelashes. And we want to give her some legs. I'm going to have her holding a flower. So I'm going to give her a little flower. Or you can give her a little candy heart, but have her holding on to something pretty. Okay, last thing we need to do is antennas. I've made some royal icing antenna, but you could also make this out of white chocolate, just providing it's not too hot. Just a little squiggle, any design you want. Another thing that'll work is some curly ribbon. Thanks for watching this week's video. We've included the recipe for decorating buttercream and royal icing in the description since a lot of you asked for it. Thanks again. See you soon.